That's the AR-15.
It's military grade.
Yes, ma'am.
They call it the Iron River. Day and night, American guns are flowing across the border into the hands of Mexican gangsters, fueling an arms race between the cartels and terrorizing innocent civilians caught in the crossfire.
Pues ya ve como dice el dicho, ¿no? Estados Unidos pone las armas. México pone los muertos. Pues así es.
It's almost midnight, and we're following this person who's driving this car right in front of us. It's allegedly someone who transports guns down to Mexico. We're just looking for an isolated place to park and talk. For years, I've cultivated sources in Mexico who have connections to the cartels. One of them has helped me gain access to an LA-based operation that moves guns south of the border.
Yo quería conocer a alguien que hacía ese transporte, pero siempre pensé que sería un hombre. No sé por qué, pero no pensaba que sería una mujer. ¿Tú conoces otras también?
Sí. Hay muchas. Pero más yo. Yo conozco como unas 15 muchachas que andan en esto. Es más fácil como mujer cruzar.
She won't reveal her name, but tells me to call her La Güera, or Blondie. Blondie tells me she's been working for the Sinaloa cartel since she was 18 and has driven vehicles packed with American weapons into Mexico at least 100 times. For her efforts, she's paid $20,000 a month.
¿Y tú sabes de dónde vienen las armas? ¿Quién los compran o así?
No, y no pregunto. O sea, yo nomás vengo a lo que es mi trabajo y ya.
Blondie is just a low-level courier. She can't, or won't, tell me who her suppliers are. The buyers, on the other hand, are less of a mystery. Over 35,000 murders were committed in Mexico in 2019, the most ever recorded. And yet, there's only one gun store in the whole country. It turns out 70% of the weapons seized by Mexican authorities originated in the United States. The following night, my cartel contact set me up with Blondie's LA-based suppliers.
T, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Mariana.
Come on in.
The lead supplier tells me to call him T,
Guys.
then introduces me to his cousin and 17-year-old niece.
So it's somebody down in Mexico who's your relative who called you and asked you to do this favor to show us this operation up here.
Yes. My boys are really like they're cops. But like I said,
We're not cops.
I know you guys are not cops.
I'm a journalist.
And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. Or else you guys won't even be this close.
I see that you've got some stuff ready here.
Yes.
And are these going down tonight?
They're getting shipped out tonight, actually.
How'd you get a hold of so many weapons? Where?
Well, actually, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. This one, we just got it from a police officer. They just took it away from one of our fellas. And he gave it back to us for $1,000. We just get that for like $700, so he made $300 worth of that.
Wait. LAPD?
LAPD.
So the officer confiscated the weapon and then you paid him $1,000 to get the weapon back?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, wow.
And then this one was actually bought from a Marine military base from San Diego. All this is different.
Right, but they're all ultimately come from law enforcement here in California.
Yes, ma'am.
So in general, just outside of California, in general, how easy is it to get guns in the United States?
Easy. just go to Las Vegas in Arizona and get one.
So this is the AR-15, right?
Yes, that's the AR-15.
It's military grade.
Everything. Everything's with military that law enforcement use.
So this, for me, is so insane because I live here in Los Angeles. This is my backyard. And the fact that I'm holding an AR-15 with another one next to me and an AK-47, these are the guns that are killing Mexicans on a daily basis.
The cartels are going at it with the AR M16s, Mini 14s, but that's the killer machine gun right there.
These are the same weapons being used in many of America's mass shootings.
This is crazy because we're on the corner out in the open. There's cars passing. It's like 10 p.m., a regular weekday night in Los Angeles. And they're gonna stash the guns in this car, and then the car's gonna go to Mexico.
The Iron River moves quickly. I can't ride with Blondie and her cargo, but I know where she plans to deliver the guns. 180 miles southeast of Los Angeles lies Mexicali, a dusty desert town that sits along the U.S.-Mexico border. This is where Blondie told me to meet her, if she hasn't been apprehended.
¿Ya estás acá? ¿Ya estás en México?
Sí, ya crucé aquí a México, ya estoy aquí para dejar la camioneta.
So she's waiting for us right at that place. She sent me the map, which should be right around the corner. Yo pienso que estoy mismo aquí en el, al lado. Yo estoy llegando, ¿ok? Espérame allá. Okay, she's right here. I think that's her car right there. Yep, that's her. The keys, apparently, this is how it works. She hides the key under the mat, the door, the car mat, and then somebody else will come here, get the car, take it away, and then call her when the car is ready. So we just stay here and we wait. Let me see, she's actually leaving the car right now. Okay, now off she goes. And supposedly now, she says somebody else is gonna show up and take the car. Do you see somebody? Oh, yeah. Okay. Is that it? There's a guy coming this way. Okay, yes, this is it. This is him. So this guy knows we're following him. Or at least I hope so. Sorry. Just don't want to lose him. I don't know much. I don't know about this guy. I believe he works for the guy that receives the guns here in Mexico. So he's another link in this chain.
We follow the SUV until it pulls into a small garage.
¿Podemos entrar?
Always.
Well, so I guess this is it.
Standing in this small, quiet garage in Mexicali, I have no idea what the Iron River has waiting for me further downstream. My quest to trace the flow of American weapons into Mexico has brought me to this garage in the border town of Mexicali. Mexico's drug cartels run a multi-billion-dollar criminal industry. But in a country with exactly one legal gun store, firearms are almost impossible to acquire. Unless you know someone like Hector.
Wow, check this out. This is crazy. This just wrapped in a denim jacket. Oh no, in a denim, no, jeans. In jeans.
Here, Hector fills orders from the cartels with a massive markup.
So we've got a 9mm, a 22 caliber. Both of these have already been sold for $3,500 apiece. And then there's an AR-15 here that's been sold for $5,000. And there's a Colt 45 here and a Glock. ¿Y esas también ya las vendiste?
Sí, ya están vendidas.
Hector says he's a businessman, and in a country with a skyrocketing murder rate, business is booming.
¿Y tú vendes siempre a las mismas personas?
No, no, son diferentes. Bueno, casi siempre son el mismo círculo, pero
Círculo cartel.
bueno, pues le puede llamar así.
It's dangerous to pry into organized crime affiliations in Mexico. But Hector is part of the same supply chain as Blondie, and I'm fairly certain they both work for the Sinaloa cartel, the dominant drug cartel in this area.
Y una gran parte de esas armas va a Sinaloa.
Pues ahorita sí estamos mandando para allá, pero ahorita están pidiendo mucho para el lado de acá de Sonora.
¿Por qué?
Pues por la guerra que hay de los carteles ahorita ya. Para allá están pidiendo ahorita mucho. Si yo dejo de vender, van a vender otros. No se acaba.
To understand why so many American guns are being smuggled into Mexico, you first have to understand that there are more than a dozen drug cartels here, all competing to supply the world's largest consumer of illegal drugs, the United States. In 2006, the Mexican government decided to crush this supply and launched their own war on drugs. But the plan backfired and unleashed a wave of violence that 14 years later is deadlier than ever. To beat back both the military and local competition, the cartels need firepower. So they look to the most heavily armed country in the world, with some of the most lenient gun laws. 800 miles south of Los Angeles lies Sinaloa, Mexico's drug capital. The Sinaloa cartel produced the most infamous Mexican drug lord of all time, El Chapo Guzman. This is my 5th time working in Culiacan, but I've never arrived quite like this.
We just got here last night, and this is the first time we took out the cameras, and immediately, within seconds, we got a call that there was a shooting.
Right. That tells you the level of violence that we live in this city. Culiacan is becoming like a war zone now.
Miguel Angel Vega is a local journalist and an old friend. We work together every time I come to Sinaloa. He tells me gun violence in the city has spiked recently, and no one knows exactly why. Some say outside cartels are trying to muscle their way into Sinaloa. Others suspect the Sinaloa cartel has internally splintered since El Chapo's capture, as different factions battle with El Chapo's sons for control. Whatever the reason, 82 people were killed here the month before I arrived. That's one murder every 10 hours.
Oh, it's right here. So we're here, guys.
Hola, ¿todo bien? ¿Cómo
¿Qué
estás?
es lo que pasó?
Me da permiso nomás, por favor, nomás para que pasen la pana. Es que van a hacer para atrás la...
Oh,
Ah,
van a recoger el cuerpo.
Por favor.
So they're picking up the body right now, but he's saying that it was an assassination. There was a guy inside who was shot several times.
Vamos de paso aquí.
Y no lo conoces.
I try to find out more, but no one wants to speak to me. Impunity reigns across Mexico. 95% of murders like this are never solved.
Yeah, they're scared to talk. You know, a lot of people around here, even when they're witnesses to crime, if they're go on television or talk to the press about what they saw, that can get them in serious trouble. That can get them killed. So they don't feel comfortable talking. They definitely know something. They just don't want to talk to us.
Miguel has more luck with his crime beat contacts. The victim was allegedly part of the Mexican underworld, though it's unclear which cartel he belonged to. He recently arrived in Sinaloa from Tijuana, and just before noon this morning, 2 assassins followed him into the building supply store and shot him 4 times at point-blank range.
We still don't know what kind of weapon was used, but he says usually the vast majority of times it's either AR-15s or AK-47s. It's assault weapons, and the vast majority of times it's well known that those weapons come from the United States.
We have the green light, we have their permission to enter to this territory we're going. Not supposed to tell you the name of the town, not even the name of this region, just basically saying that we're in the south of Culiacan. That's all I can tell you.
For me, it's not enough to know these American guns are pouring into Mexico. I want to meet the end users, the ones pulling the trigger in murders like the one we saw yesterday.
This is the belly of the beast when it comes to narco trafficking in Mexico. This is the point that we have to stop the cars, and then we're gonna have to walk the rest.
These men are called sicarios, hired killers employed by the Sinaloa cartel to protect their products and eliminate the competition.
Ella es Mariana Van Zeller. Ella
Hola, soy
es una
Mariana.
periodista que está haciendo el documental para Nat Geo, National Geographic.
¿Te recuerdas la primera vez que mataste a alguien?
¿Y cómo se me va a olvidar? Ni una de todas, va, pero por la primera menos. Yo sabía dónde vivía él. Llegué y le toqué la puerta. Tú ya sabes por qué vengo, le dije. Y me la saqué y se la puse de frente. No se me olvida, quiso meter la mano así y me gritó, no, no. Y a la segunda vez que me alcanzó a gritar que no, te pegué 2 tiros en la cara. Después de hacerlo, siente uno como una adrenalina. Que te dan ganas de volverla a sentir.
I'm reminded that the cartel's billion-dollar profits may come from the drug trade, but their real source of power will always be violence.
Este es un R15. El ráfago. Esta que traigo aquí es una 5.7. Aquí la conocen como la matapolicía porque atraviesa blindaje.
¿Verdad? So it's 5.7.
Así es, de 20 tiros, también es ráfago.
¿Ya mataste personas con eso?
Unos cuantos, pero pues por eso no la dan.
For men like this, the gun is seen as an essential tool to change their fortunes, just like El Chapo.
Es que también, oiga, yo le voy a decir una cosa. No porque nosotros andemos así como andamos, somos personas
malos, no somos
malas,
malos.
abusonas, porque hay muchos tipos de gente aquí, pues en todo México hay muchos bandos. Y hay unos que pues se dedican solo a trabajar, a lo que es para mandar drogas, todo eso, pues a trabajar, a producir dinero. Y hay otros que pues no, pues quieren andar peleando, no se conforman con lo que tienen, quieren andar peleando, quieren abarcar más y más y más. Al que no sea justo, pues estamos para alinearlo.
And that is what fuels the never-ending cycle of violence in Mexico. The extraordinary profits made from America's insatiable demand for drugs means the cartels will always find a supply of eager young recruits. And the more I see, the more I'm convinced that the violence is only going to get worse. Since the war on drugs began, 40,000 men, women, and children remain unaccounted for. They are simply called los desaparecidos, the disappeared. 4 times a week, 52 weeks a year, Maria Isabel Cruz leads a group of grieving mothers who search for their sons and daughters.
They just found this tape. They say it's very common to find you know, bodies that have been wrapped around, or they put tape. Ooh, such strong smell. They put tape around the face.
They tell me they've recovered 78 bodies so far, but not Maria Isabel's son, Josimar.
¿Cómo era su hijo?
¿Cómo era? Un chico alegre. Josimar es una persona que no puedes estar sin reírte un momento con Josimar.
Josimar was a member of a Sinaloan police unit, aggressively combating the cartels. On January 26, 2017, a group of hooded and heavily armed narcos broke into Josimar's home and in front of his fiancée dragged him out into the night. He was never seen or heard from again.
¿Usted tiene todavía esperanza que lo va a encontrar?
Es lo único que me queda, la esperanza. Y esa va a ser mi misión hasta, tal vez mi último suspiro. Si no lo encuentro, va a ser para él.
Perdón.
No, no te preocupes. Me sirve.
¿A usted?
Sí.
¿Quiere hablar?
Sí.
Damos a nuestros hijos, señores, y nadie nos puede parar.
Your classic American barbecue. Perfect weather, meats on the grill, and a backyard full of friends. But this is not your typical summer get-together, because this is Dr. Tony Hughes' house.
Tony, we're ready for you, dude.
And performance-enhancing drugs are at the ready. Tony Hughes is the face of a movement that believes performance-enhancing drugs, like steroids, can turn everyday people,
Friends of Freedom, pioneers of human evolution,
into superhumans.
Instead of using medicine to make us average, we can use medicine to make us evolve.
When I started investigating the underground explosion of steroids in America, there is one name I heard over and over again.
Dr. Tony Hughes. Dr. Tony Hughes here. Dr. Tony Hughes here. Where in the world is Dr. Tony Hughes? Update.
Dr. Tony Hughes.
Hi, Mariana.
Reporting for duty, Tony.
Yes, welcome. You now get to see the behind the scenes of how we actually build muscle besides the drugs, although there might be some of that involved as well.
Okay.
Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
Performance-enhancing drugs are notorious for causing scandals at the highest level of sports. But these days, people like Tony Hughes are bringing experimental versions of those same drugs to the masses.
I'm going to show you what we do before our workouts as bodybuilders.
Just minutes after I arrive, Tony invites me and a handful of his guinea pigs, his words, not mine, into a locker room.
You know, they wouldn't do it openly. We'll get kicked out of the gym if there's people around. This is generic Chinese growth hormone. This is an underground testosterone.
All right, Akash, I'm loading your needle. Do you want testosterone? Do you need test?
Half cc a test is fine.
This is actually an extremely potent prototype. A half cc would
Oh, let's do like maybe.
would turn you into the Hulk. Yeah, okay, 1/4.
It looks like a big needle that I wouldn't want to stick on myself. Yeah, it's much bigger than I thought, and thicker too.
So now this is Molly's shot. In 1 month, she can make about 1.5 years worth of muscle building progress.
And why are you doing this?
I've always had insecurities, like with my body, with myself. So it slowly but surely does help you gain that confidence.
Yeah, I'm feeling the pressure right now, guys. I'm feeling really tiny and terrible here. I feel so out of shape right now.
Dr. Tony Huge is a larger-than-life figure in the world of DIY performance-enhancing drugs.
You're Dr. Tony Huge. Where did you get your medical degree from?
I don't have a medical degree. I'm a doctorate of jurisprudence.
Contact us at Hughes Financial Law today.
I'm a lawyer, retired lawyer.
Yo soy Anthony Hughes. Le puedo ayudar en español.
It's quite fortunate for the audience that I'm not an actual medical doctor, because if I was, they would take my license for teaching the things that I do.
Tony is evangelical about the power of anabolic drugs.
Well, I love steroids. I think before I came on the scene, steroids were even greater taboo. So I've sort of made steroids cool.
Steroids.
I use them all the time in mega doses. And I don't think it's a bad thing. Be swole and swole, friends of freedom, pioneers human evolution.
So when did you start taking steroids?
Steroids, I actually started taking about 2 years ago. I didn't know I was taking them. Someone told me they were vitamins.
Who, like a friend? Or?
It was an ex-boyfriend.
And then when you found out, were you angry or?
No, because I liked the results that I got from them.
Back at Tony's house, his friends are open about using steroids.
If you're someone who's deploying all the time or you're in a special operations career field, we don't get down days.
That includes a member of U.S. Special Forces.
We're hiking the tallest mountains, we're in the hottest deserts, pretty much perform like a superhuman. And when it's a life or death situation, it's a small price to pay to take performance-enhancing drugs to be able to get back home to my family.
Who contacts you about steroids?
Everyone, teenagers, all the way up to old ladies, I kid you not, and everywhere in between. Police, 40-year-old female house moms that are using them to get in better shape.
Do you still take steroids now?
I do, in the sense of if I want to get ready for Halloween, I want to body paint. So for me to be able to body paint after 3 kids, instead of me doing a cabbage soup diet, I want to look strong and feel strong and not to my metabolism.
Everyone has their poison, whether it's smoking or alcohol or hardcore opiates and, things like that. Pick your poison, and that's the one I chose.
Tony is happy to give away performance-enhancing drugs at his party. But how do everyday people normally get their hands on them?
Do you know where the steroids you take, do you know where they're coming from?
It depends.
No, you don't want to tell me.
Not at all.
So the anabolics that you take, where are those coming? Where is it coming from?
Our source asked not to be named.
I wouldn't say.
And you don't want to say?
No.
See, I've spoken to several people here. Nobody wants to tell me where from. Why is that?
I don't know you, and it's a small community, and you're dealing with stuff that can potentially put other people in jail.
Okay, can you just tell me if they come from overseas or if they're domestic?
No comment.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I don't really take no for an answer. So after a few off-camera conversations with Tony, he agrees to show me where underground steroids come from.
Yeah, this is where he told us to meet him. Not where you'd think they'd be doing steroids in human experiments, You see this light over there? Tony Huge, right here.
So it's not, is it here?
No, it's not here. I'm going to take you to it because the experiments that we do are kind of underground. You're not supposed to experiment on humans, and you're not supposed to be making some of these compounds the way we do. And that's a lot of risk to me and the people I work with.
When you mention an underground lab, I definitely wasn't expecting something so. It looks like a real lab.
Well, it has to be clean, and it has to have all the tools that we need for any given experiment.
The DEA and FDA are the federal agencies with oversight on steroid use. They often make news for busting underground labs.
DEA agents raided the facility.
A massive illegal drug operation. Homemade drugs are especially dangerous to anyone who uses them.
Aren't you scared they could come after you?
Yeah, everything. They did. They did.
Tony is the face of Enhanced Athlete, a supplement company that was raided by the FDA in 2017. That same year, Enhanced Athlete was accused in a civil lawsuit of selling products not approved for human consumption.
You said you got a doctorate of laws? You don't really think it allows you to call yourself a doctor, do you?
Yes. I was under investigation for many years, and they were surveilling me, and my CEO ended up in jail.
This is new tonight. A Sacramento man was sentenced to 3 years in prison today for selling fertilizer disguised as fat-burning pills.
And you guys were making that here?
That's what Scott was prosecuted for.
Why are you still here and why is he in prison?
Because I never made money from any of this. I was a lawyer. I sold my law firm, and I took that money and I invested it into research.
Tony claims that for him, developing new drugs is merely a passion project, albeit a risky one.
So why do you let us film in here? Why do you let us come here?
Because there's a risk versus benefit. This is my passion. I retired from law to further the chemistry of bodybuilding. Instead of just using medicine to make us average, we can use medicine to continue to enhance us, to make us evolve.
And do you actually make all of this, or who makes this?
Coach Trevor's our lead chemist. Hey, Coach Trevor.
Coach Trevor is Tony's secret weapon.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you? I'm Mariana.
Trevor.
Nice to meet you.
The two are incredibly close, with an almost brotherly bond.
This is your lab?
This is it. This is Ground Zero.
And they have a shared passion for creating new performance-enhancing drugs.
Coach Trevor and I have gone over the protocol. What I'm going to start with is 50 milligrams per day.
Tony was saying that you're the main chemist.
I think they call it chef.
Sort of Breaking Bad kind of thing.
No meth. No.
Trevor is obsessed with the chemistry behind steroids. Despite the imposing exterior, Trevor sees himself as a science nerd at heart.
If you wanted to, what drugs can you make right now?
Actually, it'd be easier to name what I couldn't make.
Could you make cocaine?
Yeah.
Could you make heroin?
Yeah. Very simple.
Do you know how to make fentanyl?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know how to make meth?
Yes.
If you can make any drug in the world, why are you making anabolics?
Because I could sell steroids to a lawyer. He's happy, it improves his life. If it's not hurting you, why not?
Is what you're doing dangerous?
Yeah. Yeah. Which is why I do it to myself first.
Sometimes really bad things do happen. And afterwards, we sometimes say we're never going to do another experiment. We are addicted to the science and pioneering, and we do continue experimenting even after bad things happen.
The raw chemicals that you use here, where did those come from?
Almost everything comes from China now.
Because these chemicals are often on the DEA's list of banned substances, companies in China have found inventive ways to sneak them past customs.
Here's one.
Disguised as food.
It looks like flour, right?
So a lot of it is actually coming out. So it's not dangerous that it's all over my hands, is it? No.
Yeah, actually, no, it's not. No, I don't want to absorb.
Today, Trevor and Tony are developing a new injectable version of a drug called ASARM.
A selective androgen receptor modulator, so potentially the future of steroids, all the benefits without the side effects.
And this is illegal.
This is illegal to sell to a human as a supplement. It is legal to possess. It is legal to use.
People are using the stuff that you guys are making here in this lab. Are using this?
Yes, they're using these formulas by facilities we are teaching how to make these things underground.
That is
Talking to
very
a lawyer.
around
I was a
answer.
lawyer
Is it?
before.
The stuff that is made here, does it end up inside people's bodies around the country?
That's what I don't want to answer.
Because that can get you in trouble.
Right. I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth.
Back then, I felt like a loser. I felt like a zero. Felt like a nobody. And I found this thing, you know, the sport that could give me respect immediately for nothing. You know, almost unearned. You know, you would get big in the gym and people were afraid of me or respected me.
Jeff started bodybuilding and using steroids when he was in his 20s. But a decade later, he was diagnosed with heart failure.
The heart thing, that's what everyone's risking. And it's just when's your number gonna get called? Like, that's how bodybuilders die. I was weak, like weaker than I'd ever been. And there was something obviously wrong. But they use that word heart failure. It's like, yeah, that hit me like a ton of bricks. I got a kid right now, I got a family, like, yo, this isn't cool.
Now that we have a baby, it was putting a lot of strain on us.
Many, many people I admired were doing steroids, and they weren't dropping dead. My heroes, Arnold Schwarzenegger, they're alive. They're still alive. They were big steroid users.
Ironically, doctors only discovered Jeff's heart problems when he was sent to the hospital for a different medical emergency, also caused by steroids.
Like, my butt was so big that, like, I had elastics, you know, basketball shorts, and I couldn't pull them up over my butt.
Because it was too big?
Yeah, it was like, I don't know if you can tell, like...
I can definitely tell. After injecting a batch of underground steroids, Jeff got an infection so malicious that doctors had to amputate parts of his butt and legs just to keep him alive.
The lady's like, oh, we gotta operate on you right now. You know, there was 7 surgeries to get the infection under control, and then there were 5 surgeries to clean it. So there's 11 surgeries in 24 days.
11 surgeries?
11.
It was only then that Jeff began to rethink his longtime steroid use. Tomorrow, Jeff will get the results from his cardiologist.
I'm hoping that, you know, I'm gonna get some good news. I think some of the damage I did is probably permanent as far as like an enlarged heart. Yeah. I don't want to go back and bodybuild. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for, you know, how long can I live, right? I mean, if you look around this office, who's here? It's old men. It's like, why am I here? I'm freaking 37. Like, something's wrong, right?
Because Jeff took testosterone for so many
Right.
years,
Right.
now his body doesn't produce it naturally, and he actually
Right.
has to take testosterone to stay healthy.
This is the unfortunate irony for guys that are looking to become superhuman per se. You know, they end up in a point where, again, they obliterate their body's own ability to produce testosterone.
Today, Jeff will be getting the results to see if his heart has bounced back to normal.
So there's 2 main things that we're evaluating with that echo. One is your systolic function, which is the squeezing function. And that was the one that was mildly reduced last time you were here. That actually does not look significantly different. Okay, so it still looks a little bit sluggish.
Yep.
But there's another parameter that we look at, which is the relaxation function of the heart.
Right.
And that was also quite abnormal last time you were here. That looks significantly better.
Okay.
Okay. You know, we're not at the point where I'd say your heart looks normal, unfortunately.
Right.
I think you should sort of get your mind around the fact that you're probably going to be on long-term medication. I worry about Jeff's longevity. His heart actually hasn't bounced back to normal. And the longer we see it, that sort of suggests that something permanent has happened there.
And if he started taking steroids again?
Not a good outlook.
We've heard from a lot of people that say that there's a safe way of doing this. The people that have gotten hurt is because they didn't know what they were doing and they were taking too much, or
Right.
but there is actually a safe way to do this. they
Right.
say. What do you think?
I think those people are kidding themselves. The best data that we have are autopsy studies. That means someone died. Jeff, frankly, is lucky. And there's lots and lots of case reports of young guys having heart attacks and having strokes, sudden death. So your first symptom is dying.
I meet with Dr. Thomas O'Connor, a physician who specializes in steroid abuse.
What do I think of Tony Huge? A very dangerous guy because he's so seductive and his social media is so amazing. We have young men, boys, 13-year-old boys, 16, 18, 25, that are buying it hook, line, and sinker. He's destroying lives. He looks like he's a physician, and he calls himself a doctor. If they were medical professionals, they'd be in jail.
So Tony Huge right now is creating this injectable SARM. He says it's like a steroid, but without side effects, right?
Okay, he's wrong. It's not possible right now. Pharmaceutical companies like to do what? Make money.
So you're saying that if it was possible to create a steroid without the side effects, that the pharmaceutical company...
Billion-dollar industry.
Right. And the fact that they're not all over it right now, it's because...
It's beyond the science of today.
Recently, the FDA released a statement saying that SARMs can increase the risk of heart attack, stroke, and liver damage, the same side effects of steroids.
The patients tell me that, hey, doc, I used to love Tony Huge, man, because he represented just like freedom and all this kind of stuff.
You see me in my bedroom with a hot girl.
And then I really took some of the drugs he recommended, and I ended up in the hospital. Or my brother died. Or a friend of mine's really suffering. You see the bodies that are constructed. Being superhuman on steroids is part of the game, part of the trip. But the reality is you can't be superhuman forever. And your heart doesn't want to be superhuman.
It's estimated that up to 4 million Americans are now using steroids.
Hi, Tony.
Hi, Mariana.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
So you spent the last couple of months in Thailand, is that right?
Yeah. I'm building an epicenter of chemical transformations to push the limits on performance enhancement.
When I last check in with Tony Huge, he's still promoting enhanced athlete products, but he's got a new place to conduct human experiments.
Are you and Trevor planning on moving your whole operation to Asia?
Yeah, we're transitioning right now, so yeah, as fast as we can.
In Thailand, they have clinics on every corner.
We don't have to go through doctors and get prescriptions for lab work. We can just move much faster in Thailand than in the US with our research.
In 2019, a bill was introduced to the US Senate that would allow the DEA to arrest anyone making SARMs.
Are you ever afraid that the authorities will come after you?
Yeah, sure. There's always a little bit of that fear. Yeah. It's not so much that I'm running away from authorities and law enforcement as it is I'm just less of a target if I'm outside the country.
Do you think there's anything wrong with wanting to be superhuman?
No, I think that that is the next step of our evolution. How strong can we become? How amazing can we look? How long can we live? If people could just visualize when they felt the best in their life. Imagine having that all the time, and then imagine amplifying it. That's what it feels like to be superhuman. And once people experience, it's hard to go back.
This is what makes Tony Spitch so seductive. He believes with missionary-like zeal in what he preaches.
All right, here we go.
That sort of faith can be dangerous, even deadly. But it's hard to argue with those convinced they're on a path to salvation.
Can you tell me a little bit about your day-to-day? You wake up, and then what happens?
Wake up, make sure my sons are in school, and then drive all over creation, looking at these young, pretty girls. You can go anywhere and crack a female. Anywhere. Bus stations.
Train station. Instagram. Facebook.
County jail. All-night dinners.
First comes the seduction. Then comes the reality.
After a couple of days of drinking and smoking, now you guys walk the street.
This is a story about pimps, how they work, how they think, and what they'll do to grab their share of the billion-dollar market for illicit sex in America.
Out here, in these streets, you're either a predator or you're a prey. You're either a sheep or you're a wolf. I'm not saying what I do is right, but I'm a wolf out here to survive on these streets, because I'm not gonna be no sheep.
Not long ago, sex trafficking was thought to be largely a transnational problem, with criminal networks smuggling undocumented women across borders to work as sex slaves. But there's a far more common variety happening in every U.S. city, big and small, that sees Americans exploiting other Americans. My search begins on Instagram. That's where I learned that pimps have their own ecosystem of hashtags.
There's this one, hashtag 304. If you turn around 304, it actually spells hoe. Can't show a lot of these faces, but hashtag game-related, PGO, pimp game on, HGO, which means hoe game on, hashtag IZM, which is like the swagger, more jewelry, more diamonds, this display of wealth and power, these stacks of cash, all of this is just a way to show these women what their lives could be like if they were working for them.
I have no idea if any of these guys are actually pimps or just playing the part. But for some, it certainly feels like their social media feed is the marketing arm of their operation.
Doesn't seem like they're very ashamed or trying to hide what they're doing at all. In fact, they want to show it off.
Over several weeks, I messaged countless guys and a few women, asking if any of them would be up for talking. I get mostly silence. Then finally, a breakthrough. I stumble upon a genre of book I didn't know existed, the pimp memoir. That's how I found Mickey Royal. Sure enough, the author of The Pimp Game agrees to meet me at a motel in the heart of South Central Los Angeles. I'm hopeful that Mickey will be the key to finding my way inside his former profession.
How are you?
All right.
Mariana.
Mickey Royal.
Hi, Mickey. So nice to meet you.
Same here, likewise. I didn't really start pimping until I was about 19 or 20. I came from a drug and gang background, so I always thought of that particular life as being weak, you know, because if it didn't involve a pistol, I wasn't interested. But it was something about the allure of it. It just sucks you in, and I fell in love with it.
Mickey offers to take me for a tour of the most infamous track in LA.
Where are we heading? Where are we going?
We're headed to Figueroa. It's referred to as the track, the blade. It's been around since the 60s. We're talking about 95 blocks.
Wow.
95 blocks.
How dangerous is it, do you think?
It's extremely dangerous. You got the tricks you have to worry about. You have upsetting the pimp you have to worry about. Kidnappings, stabbings, shootings, plenty of them. You're talking about a profession where sexual assault and rape are just occupational daily hazards.
So I've lived in Los Angeles for over 10 years, and I know Figueroa, but I've never seen any of this till tonight.
That's why I call it the shadow world. It exists at night and broad daylight. She's working to the right.
Oh, she's wearing a bikini.
Yeah.
It's also freezing. It's 46 degrees outside.
I mean, you gotta understand, if they have pimps or whatever, if they can make extra money by being seen from a distance, they're not even allowed to wear jackets. See how they both were naked? More than likely, they have the same pimp.
Was that a thing where your girls that worked with you dressed the same?
Yep, it was either a shop for all of them at the same time.
So all these three girls have the same shoes. Does that mean that they work for the same pimp?
More than likely.
She was so young. She looked like she was like 15 or something. Did you see that?
Yeah, you'll see a lot of those.
I mean, it's dozens and dozens and dozens of women that we've seen so far in what, about 20 blocks, right?
Right. You should see them on Friday and Saturday night. It's like a concert.
So where would you be? Imagine a girl would be on this corner. Where would you be?
Sitting in the car. not far away, but I'm gonna have
watching
my eye
her.
on. Yeah,
Why?
to make sure she's okay, and I figured that was my job.
And if you had more than one girl, how do you do
You
that?
cruise around. You might sit here for about 10 minutes until she gets a day, see where it goes, and then you cruise up to see this one. You pull up on one, you collect your money, but she's not gonna get any dates while you're sitting there.
We've been circling the same stretch of blocks several times when Mickey gets spooked.
Okay, that's, we gotta go
What happened?
somewhere else. That's it.
Why? What happened?
Well, it's starting to get hot.
What do you mean? What did you?
Once we got made, as far as the cameras, what'll happen is they'll start telling everybody what they saw and pointing out the car.
What if we take a ride and take one last trip?
You don't want to do that.
Really?
No. You want to call it a night right now, trust me.
I follow Mickey's advice, but I'm still hopeful he can connect me to an active pimp.
So we've been working on this story for a long time, and it's been really hard to get people to talk to us, especially people who are currently in
Yeah,
the
you
game.
won't get that.
I mean, if you were currently doing it, would you even admit it to us?
You hopping out with the cameras, you're better off pulling guns on me. No. Guns, I'll challenge the camera out to run. No.
Why not?
Because if you want to get away with a crime, it has to be a secret. Simple as that.
Hi, it's Mariana here. How are you?
I'm fine.
Mickey gave me your number and said that you'd be willing to talk to us. We'd love to meet with you at a place somewhere in Inglewood if you're available.
Yes.
Okay, and you're bringing some people that work with you, right?
Right.
That hotel, is that the place you want to meet?
Right.
So we've rented this motel room. It's a place that they've said they've worked at before. We were supposed to meet here an hour ago. They still haven't showed up. It's been really hard to get people to talk to us, so it sounded really positive, and I'm hoping that they'll show up tonight. Oh, hi.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, Mariana. How are you?
I'm fine.
Come on in. So we're very close to Figueroa, which is one of the most famous tracks or blades in Los Angeles. Have you guys ever been out there?
Yes.
Do you think that a lot of the women that are working out on the blade, the track, they all have pimps?
I say 80% of them do. I say yeah.
Did you have a pimp?
When I first started out, no, I was just, hey, let's get away. You know what I mean? But I did try it out. Like, guys wanted me to be their hoe. And, you know, I would hang around them or kick it with their female and see how their environment was, and it just wasn't for me. It was a lot of violence. It was a lot of jealousy. I didn't see where the money was going.
Why do you think other women do it then?
Daddy issues. Seeking attention, might have been molested, might feel that they need to be valued by a man and not really know they value for themselves.
There's a lot of people that grow up in broken homes. Not having that father figure is like a huge part in a young girl's life. When you don't seek and get that love that you deserve, it pushes you to a whole nother state that you can't really explain or describe. You just feel the pain.
Do you think that the pimps know that and they exploit that? They go after those...
That's how they abuse you. That's how they get you to never leave. And that's why most girls that's my age, they get stuck. And they live like that for a very long time.
The more we talk, the more I realize how many different ways women are pulled onto the streets. This is a woman we'll call B. Prostitution is not her day job, just something she does after her shifts as a nurse.
And for school. So it was like, I'm doing it anyway. Why not? I mean, I'm not afraid. I'm not ashamed of it. So it's like, it ain't no need to be ashamed of everybody having sex. Don't you ever fantasize about being a stripper?
Yeah, see, this is the part where I'm not sure if I should be nodding or not.
Exactly.
Honey says she works primarily with clients from the business world.
I'm very high priced. I mean, I make a lot of money doing what I'm doing.
She says she can make as much as $20,000 a week. But all that money comes at a high personal cost.
So I had a friend, and her father, he was a drug dealer and a pimp. My mother was never around, so I always spent a lot of time at her house. And her dad, he would always hit on me and touch me. But I never told anyone I didn't have anyone around, so.
How old were you?
I was 12.
I'm sorry if I'm going to ask you this, and tell me if you don't want to answer, or if you don't even want the question, we can take it out. But did he rape you?
Yes, he did.
When you were 12?
Yes.
And then how did it progress from there?
He told me, like, it's okay. If you do it for me, I'm not going to judge you. No one's going to judge you. Don't tell anybody. So, I always kept it a secret. Like, no one ever knew what I did.
And how did he convince you that you should be selling your body out to other men?
I didn't have a mother and a father around, so I grew up thinking that it was okay, to sell my body. I was young. I was naive. Like, you tell me it's okay, and I just believed you.
He was a pimp?
Yes.
He had several women working for him?
Yes.
How many?
About 5 of us.
All of them as young as you?
Yeah.
So they were all between 12?
12 to like 15. No older than that.
After 4 years, Honey finally escaped.
Did he do any time in jail or anything?
No, I didn't press any charges, nothing like that. I just wanted to get away.
One of the things that we hear a lot is how women that have pimps, even when they're abusive, they just don't want to talk to the police. They don't want to testify. They just want to leave that behind.
Snitches get stitches, so if you tell, people will put a bounty on your head and they don't care how much it costs.
Right. That's what they say.
Kabanga.
Meaning that they will beat you up if you talk.
And they'll do it. They'll make sure it get done.
Once you in it, it's hard to escape. It's always gonna come back to you. Once you turn a good girl bad, it's hard to turn it back good.
After the interview, Nina tells me she knows everyone on the streets, pimps included. She makes some introductions, I trade some texts, and it looks like it's all about to happen, until it doesn't.
We've been in 3 different locations so far, just today alone, waiting for these pimps to show up. They tell us they're coming, they tell us they're on their way, we get everything set up, and we wait and wait and wait, and then last minute, they either don't show up or they text us telling us they can't come, or they're, unsure whether we're police and they don't feel comfortable. He just failed. He's not coming anymore. We actually just got a text from this one guy who says he's on 54th and Western. He's on the corner. He told us he'd be waiting for us. We have no idea what we're walking into, who we're meeting with exactly, but we're hoping that at least there's somebody there.
After months of trying, I'm finally face to face with a working pimp. He wants me to call him Chill. And this is his business partner, Lady P.
I know that when we were texting back and forth, you didn't want to give us the right address immediately, so you weren't sure if we were police, essentially.
Absolutely. Because of the business that we're in, if you're even claiming that you're in this part of the business, they've changed. So now, instead of just some regular where pimping is pimping, no, what we're doing now is considered human trafficking. And that is completely different from what pimping is.
So tell me, what is pimping about?
It's about choice. They just see the flash, they see the gold, they see the money, they see the cars. Every time you turn on the radio, what do you hear? Oh, it's some rapper dude talking about how he got a bunch of bitches and all this other. So what do they want? They want that rapper dude. They see the Ferrari, the Lamborghini, all that. They want that. What's next to a rapper? A pimp. Why not? He can get you everything you want. Easy. Drugs, sex, rock and roll. That's what it is.
That may be the way pimps like Chill view the lifestyle. But I imagine the reality is far more complicated for the women working for him.
How do you find the girls?
Clubs, they see us hanging out. We're in the VIP section and we're drinking and we're having fun. Of course they don't want to be sitting over there with normal people. They want to come to the VIP. Hey girl, you want to come back with us?
Who says that?
I do. They come back. They see the glitz, the glamour, the gold, the cars, bikes. They want to smoke weed, do powder, ecstasy. We have all that around. A couple of days after they've been there, okay, now you got to come up with some money.
Bills got to get paid. You got a choice at that point. You can say, I'm cool, that I'm out. 99.9% of the time, these young is just gonna be like, hey, I got weed, I got ecstasy, I got everything I want, and I can get some money out of it. Why not?
Is it really that high, like that amount of girl? Like the
It's
majority?
not like you're going out looking for the classiest of females. You know, you with the ones that are turned up.
Or keep looking over at us.
Keeps looking over, you can tell.
Just keep on eyeing and watching, and she done already been spotted. Over here, already just spotted her. It's a wrap. And at that point, the choice is made.
It's rare to get an inside look at a pimp's operation, which is why I want to see others. Over the next week, I connect with 2 more pimps who are currently in the game. At a cheap motel in Inglewood, I meet Jackknife. And after a bit of convincing, I sit down with Gotti late night at a bar near the airport.
So these women, that you meet them on the street, or how do you recruit them? How do you get them to work?
On the street 9 times out of 10. Sometimes Instagram, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes Facebook, it depends.
Guess what? You can go anywhere and crack your female. Anywhere.
What do you say to them?
How you doing, beautiful? You mind if I hang out with you while you shop and we could talk and get to know each other? We hang out, become friends, and talk about how we can make money. And if they willing to go along with the situation, we go do this.
You butter them up, or?
Of course I butter them up. I gotta tell them they're pretty so they can get out there and get this money. They gotta be out here with a big head so they can get out there and get this bread.
Is there a particular kind of girl that you're looking for?
For somebody that's not showing fear, ready to go.
Each admits to working a certain number of women.
I would say about 7.
6 is the lowest, 8 or 9 at the most.
Right now I got 4.
These 4 girls work full-time for you?
Yes, they only for me.
And each takes a certain percentage of the earnings.
Do they keep the majority, or do you guys keep the majority?
Keep the majority.
You guys keep the majority?
Yeah. If I'm taking care of you, I have to keep the majority.
Absolutely.
What makes pimping different than other hustles is that people's lives are in the balance. Most often, young women coming from their own difficult circumstances. So I'm actually surprised when Chill agrees to let me sit down with one of the women who works for him.
When did you start escorting?
About when I was 15, and I fell into the wrong guy, and it was horrible. And then I met Chill at a bar, and he just seemed like a nice guy. He was so sweet, honorable. He's always a man of his word. He does exactly what he said he's gonna do. He believed in my dreams, and he's just like, oh, like, I can help you. And he just started helping me.
I quickly realized that something feels off.
He never judged me, and he just kind of took me in. And
it's the most glowing review of a pimp you could ever imagine.
Do you give him part of your money, though?
Yes, but it's just the same as putting the money into my bank. Just like as if you would take your card out and make a withdrawal, only mine is not a card, it's a person.
So he's your pimp?
I wouldn't call him my pimp because he's sweet. He's very honorable.
You don't like to call him pimp. What do you call him?
My friend.
And I realize I have no idea how many of these details are true, and how many of them are simply talking points to please her boss, who spends the entire interview looming over us with a pool stick in his hand. That's the tricky thing about doing these sex trafficking stories. When you drive down a street like Figueroa or International Boulevard and you see the women working, it's impossible to know their realities. Some of them are out there by choice, but some of them are not. Some of them are like honey.
Do you ever get angry knowing that there's men right now all over the city, all over the country, doing to women what your pimp did to you?
Yes. In my case, a 12-year-old, for one, they don't know what's best for them at the time. I'm looking at an adult who can potentially guide me in the right direction, but I was guided in the wrong direction. So it always crosses my mind, like, if I never got introduced to this type of lifestyle, how would I be living? Or what would my life be like? Or how would I be? Would I be different? Would I still be the same? Like, I just feel sorry for the females out there who has to go through the same thing, because it's like it's just destroying a woman's whole life.
Go get it.
Now I'm like to the point where I have a child of my own, and I have to make sure that I have more than enough for her, because I want to give her the world, you know, because she deserves it. You know, she didn't ask to be here. I brought her here.
So I've been reading your book, and I've been taking some notes here. A hoe to a pimp is worth nothing. She is actually worth everything. You take away everything she has, then give her what she needs. You, the pimp, are the cause as well as the solution to all her problems. You give her the poison, then sell her the cure. So this is something you...
That's actually true. Pimping is premeditated. You know exactly what you're doing, and you know the long-term effects of it. You have to be a sadist because you have to enjoy what you're doing, and you know good and well what you're doing. You know good and well what you're doing.
California is the epicenter of a massive social experiment. Legalized marijuana.
There's not many roads left to follow.
Supporters claimed it would rein in the world's largest marijuana black market, or crush it altogether. But 4 years in, no one could have predicted that legalization would have the opposite effects, energizing the illicit trade that's now 3 times larger than the legal one.
The black market for weed, it's exploding right now, man.
Now concentrate.
Drive anywhere in LA, and before long, I guarantee, you'll pass a weed shop. They're everywhere. The telltale green crosses of weed shops are now just as much a part of the landscape as the palm trees and taco trucks.
Ready? With the bus cuts and the machetes. Leveled the most like angels smoking dope.
But all is not what it seems.
So tell me some of the examples of people, you don't need to say names if you don't want to, but people that you've sold weed to.
Boy, a little bit of everybody, high and low. Homeless people, people that appear to be out of their mind, doctors, lawyers, rock stars, rap stars, you know, athletes. You know what I mean? Everybody knows about me.
Is that true?
Yeah.
What do they know you by?
Saying I'm the king at a $5 a gram. I started $5 a gram.
What's $5 a gram?
That means that people can smoke on a budget. If you didn't have a lot of money, I would give you a gram of some, you know, fair weed for $5.
Is that still profitable for you, though?
If you get 1,000 of them in a week, it can make sense.
The man behind the wheel, Energy, is taking me to his dispensary in South LA.
Thank you, sir. Enjoy that. What's up, man? What you need? A gram?
You're weighing everything here?
Yes. These are $5.
Oh, it's the $5 gram.
That is $5 gram.
Due to the hefty taxes, as high as 45% in California, a gram of weed can set you back 15 to 20 bucks. So you might be wondering how Energy's dispensary can afford to sell weed at such rock-bottom prices. The answer is simple.
So the business you're running here is illegal?
Yeah, technically.
Get this. 4 years after California legalized marijuana in 2016, up to 80% of dispensaries in the state are just like Energies, illegal.
Do you want to be licensed?
Yeah, why not? They just got so many hurdles.
Many of them want it to go legal, but the path to licensing is fraught with problems.
It's taxed like 3 or 4 times the amount that alcohol is taxed.
All of the hoops that you have to jump through.
We won't have the capital, the licenses are too expensive.
It's an entrepreneur's worst nightmare. Someone like Energy faces a minefield of complex regulations. And above all, they need cash, lots of cash. Often hundreds of thousands of dollars to pay for upfront costs, license fees, and rent for an unopened storefront. And good luck getting a loan, since virtually no banks will issue them while cannabis remains federally illegal. And guess who doesn't have access to that much capital?
You know, just by our history in this country, I didn't think we had anything coming as a people. And I was right.
The same communities that were locked up the most for cannabis offenses are the ones getting locked out of the legal market.
They're saying that out of 187 dispensaries, only 3 of those people are black owners.
In all of LA?
Yeah.
Do you think that's why so many people just prefer to stay in the black market?
Yeah, because it's easier.
With so much money being made in marijuana, they aren't about to close up shop either.
You'll spend more money locking me up than I probably made.
While crackdowns from cops are on the rise, robberies and break-ins are rising too.
Armed and violent, putting a gun to the neck of an employee, points the gun right in her face, grabbing several $1,000s worth of cash out of the till.
I've had a robbery attempts where I had to fight the guys off with the gun. I had people come through the ceiling, come through the walls, come through the doors.
That's why you have the surveillance cameras here as well?
Yeah.
Suddenly, a man outside rushes in and opens fire. One woman is killed. A man is wounded.
We do the bulletproofing and the controlled access. I've been armed robbed, home invaded, burglarized.
Really?
I've been tied up, left naked.
No.
Zip tied. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah.
What's crazy is that the chaos swirling around these dispensaries is just one of many unintended consequences of legalization. The legal supply chain is competing with a parallel universe of black market growers and distributors. So who are the players making all of this money, and how are they getting away with it?
We've been given a GPS location where we're going to meet some people. We don't have a lot of information, still not sure what we'll be given access to.
I'm heading to the weed cultivation epicenter in Northern California, an area that retains bragging rights for growing some of the world's best bud.
This is like such an idyllic, beautiful place, right? Not where you'd expect illegal stuff to be happening. Or maybe it is the perfect place, actually.
Out in these remote hills, it's anyone's guess what's waiting at the end of the road.
Okay, so now we just stop here and wait for somebody to come and pick us up.
I've been in this situation a lot over the years. Heading to meet a contact.
It's a pretty secluded spot.
With no idea what I'm walking into.
Check this out. It says, smile, you're on camera.
Whoever is at the end of the road tends to be packing heat.
Is it here?
Escorted by an armed entourage, and generally suspicious of our intentions.
I might think this is our guy. Hi.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thanks for having us.
Buddy Powers.
But the big boss man waiting for me defies all these expectations.
Welcome, come on in.
So this is your property. It's beautiful.
It sure is. I'm lucky.
Buddy kicks off the grand tour, and at first glance, it hits every stoner cliche you could think of. Chill vibe, eccentric art, and of course, a true love of the ganja.
I have been growing my whole life since I was a teenager. You know, selling pot in high school, eights and stuff, but taking it seriously for the last 12 years.
Has anyone ever told you that you look exactly like a younger version of the dude from The Big Lebowski?
My whole entire life, yes.
First off, there's his grow inside the garage.
I have 148 plants, $360,000, I think.
$360,000 a year, if you're lucky, just from this room alone.
Just for this room.
And out in the backyard. Oh, wow.
Yep. There's a vibration, there's a frequency that we create that the plants receive. I tell all my employees that every tickle's a nickel. Touch as many branches as you can. Every time you touch them, you send them positive vibes, and that makes more money off of that plant.
Every tickle is a nickel. Legalization was supposed to grant outlaw growers like Buddy a 5-year grace period to establish themselves before big companies could get licensed. Were you excited when you found out that it was going to be legalized?
Not at all. I did not want it to be legal.
Why not?
It wasn't protecting people like me.
But the regulations undercut this with a loophole, allowing single growers to obtain multiple permits.
Big business came right in, bought up tons of property, and really took over the industry.
Smaller growers couldn't compete at that scale, so only a tiny fraction of the estimated 60,000 outlaw growers like Buddy have gone legal.
We were all upset at the way the law was written. We saw that it was just a corporate takeover. I spent $60,000 on lawyers and permits, only to find out there was more permits and more hoops to jump through that they didn't explain.
So the police could come in here right now and you would have no warning that they were coming?
Exactly.
Have they done that to you?
Oh, yeah. I got raided on a 100-acre property that I was expanding. Lost $250,000. I lost 60 pounds of pot. I lost 5 pounds at a time, 10 pounds here.
Hasn't that made you think that maybe I should continue trying to become legal?
Not really. I pay my taxes. I just don't pay it to the IRS. When they take $250,000 from me and 60 pounds of pot, that's my tax I had to pay.
Of the 60,000 estimated outlaw growers like Buddy, only a tiny fraction have managed to get licensed. Many others have dropped out of the game entirely. With demand for weed higher than it's ever been, dangerous criminals are rushing in to fill the void. Do you think there will always be an illicit side of this business?
To everything in life, there's always going to be a shadow in the bright light.
The most dangerous part of the game is the next link in the supply chain: distribution. When millions of dollars of product and cash are in the same location at the same time. So do you think they're catering for the weed businesses around here?
Oh, for sure. The distro that I work out of, there's people selling hundreds of pounds a day in that one location.
I'm meeting a contact in an area that she says is the distribution epicenter of the state's multi-billion-dollar black market. Ironically, these few blocks in downtown LA, where it all goes down, is just around the corner from the Hall of Justice.
People that I meet all the time in the business are telling me that they have distros downtown.
Sarah's what you call a small fish. She works as a trimmer inside distribution warehouses in this area, some legal and some not. So we're hiding her identity.
We're gonna meet George, who is a big player in this industry. He has several distributions, moving millions of dollars a day of product.
That's right, $1 million a day. This is the big leagues. But even with so much on the line, her contact has agreed, reluctantly, to meet with me. I know that you've been trying to help us get access to this world. How long have you been trying to convince him?
For about 2 months.
Has George made any requests in terms of what we can and cannot film?
Yeah, a pre-mixed vocal changer.
So not only does he want us to distort his voice once this episode airs, he also wants to distort his voice immediately.
Exactly.
That's the first time we've ever been asked to do that.
Yeah, people are scared in this industry. He just texted me, so we should go meet him right now.
Okay. I found my way inside a distribution warehouse in LA, in an area considered the heart of the marijuana black market. one of the big players in that world, someone I'm told moves more than $1 million worth of product daily, has agreed to meet me. Well, kind of.
So I'm currently in an empty room and in front of a table with 9 pounds of all sorts of different kinds of weed. George, I'm just explaining what's happening to the cameras because it feels really weird that it's just me here, so I'm just explaining.
George didn't want his actual voice recorded.
George is actually out of view. Didn't feel comfortable with being on camera, but he can hear me because of my mic.
So we're using a voice changer that alters it while he speaks.
If I were a buyer, I would come in here, you'd have all these bags out here with the different samples. They'd look at it, smell it, possibly try it, smoke it.
Some will smoke it, but it's really just, based off the smell. Mainly the smell, then the look.
And then they place orders, is that it?
Yeah.
On the table is a variety of high-end, exotic indoor and outdoor weed. Each pound bag costs between $2,000 and $4,000.
What's the largest order you've ever received?
I mean, they'll go up to hundreds of pounds.
Just one order that size is worth around $1 million.
How much money is there to be made in illegal weed?
Endless. As nuts. I shouldn't really be talking about this to someone like a camera.
I decide not to push it.
So, George, you operate just a black market business, or do you operate also a legal business?
License as well.
A license as well. If you were to give me a general sense of how much money you make with your legal versus your illegal business, what would you say?
Well, technically, I haven't made profit off my legal business yet.
Wow.
They try to kill you with fees, taxes, regulations, hoops to jump through, inspections. They go 10 times overboard than any other business. I wish for them to go to the same regulations to an alcohol company.
So why operate a legal business if you're not even making money out of that?
For the love of it. Why do artists like to paint, or why does the singer like to sing? I'm rolling with the punches now and just hanging in there so that the big business doesn't just take all the original people out.
You don't feel comfortable with even being in the same room. Why do you think there's so much fear and mistrust?
It's kind of ingrained in that culture. You can't really trust people, and that just comes with money and greed. And when people are greedy, bad things happen.
Do you carry a gun?
I have guns. Robberies happen left and right. In a situation, if you do have it, you really have no choice but to use it.
I still have one question that I need to answer. So I'm heading to an old connection.
So we're meeting a guy I know here in LA that traffics guns and fentanyl and meth and a bunch of other drugs. There's police everywhere.
I've been all over the state, working my way through the supply chain. What I want to know is, where's all this weed going?
So what do you have here, Juan?
Got a little bit of crystal meth.
Is that a pound?
Yeah, it's about a pound right here. We got a little bit of different kinds of marijuana. We got a little bit of everything,
In the 10 years that you've been in business, what's made you most money?
The marijuana.
Where do you get it from?
Different sources, can't say.
But you grow it or do you buy it?
Yeah, we buy it in bulk.
And then you package it. Is this your packaging?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you sell it?
Yeah, this right here is about 1 ounce.
Ooh, that's so intense.
Yes, this is the good stuff right here. Excuse me, I got something.
Is it a client?
Yes.
Customer?
Yes, ma'am. Come on in, guys.
How you, brother?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Hi.
What's going on?
How are you?
All right.
How are
Hope
you?
you guys don't mind. I'm doing a little
Hi. Mariana.
documentary here, but we good, we good.
Obviously, you guys are covered already, so you know.
COVID gotta be like this. Oh, yeah.
Do you guys live in LA?
Nah.
Oh, you live where?
We live in the south side of Brooklyn.
Where?
South side of Brooklyn.
You from New York?
Hell yeah.
Did you come all the way to California to buy weed?
Hell yeah.
You're serious?
Yeah.
Lights are up.
In fact, up to 80% of the weed grown in California ends up in the hands and the lungs of consumers outside the state.
What kind of questions you wanted to ask me?
So you're gonna fly? Do you fly or do you drive back?
I get it.
My mind is blown. So do you fly or
Teleport.
you teleport?
Teleport.
That means you don't want to answer my question?
That means we teleport.
That's the weed talking right here.
Transporting weed over state lines is a felony.
Gotta risk it to get the biscuit, man. You know what I'm saying?
Their preferred destinations?
Here we go.
States where weed is still illegal.
They'll end up close to the East Coast or Midwest, Illinois, Wisconsin, Florida.
The drugs were found inside a car being hauled cross-country from California.
And it would go as far as Flushing, New York, to Atlanta.
The drugs were headed to New Jersey.
New York, Miami.
Where it sells for double, even triple the price.
Where you're really going to make your money is the black market in other states.
The marijuana in California is about $1,000 a pound.
Ships it, drives it, sends it wherever it's illegal.
Once you get to Alabama, the price may be $3,500 per pound.
The way it's transported.
Every way you can possibly think of.
Air, mail, train, bus, mules.
RVs with people that put in the luggage on the airplanes.
Grandmas driving. I mean, literally, if there was camels, there'd be camels.
But I'm told if you're truly a big player in the game, you're in the trucking business.
Police unloaded 500 pounds of marijuana from a semi.
60 bags piled high with marijuana.
The drug-sniffing dog pointed police to boxes of narcotics in the trailer.
They don't fly back, they send it through a shipping company. Big business, they're on trucks and send it to a different state.
You put on a shirt, tie, put a little cross in the rearview mirror, and if you get pulled over when you're driving pounds of weed, you just go, I know that God brought you here for a reason. Do you believe in our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ?
Since 2012, recreational marijuana legalization continues to gain approval at the ballot box, one state after another. If California is any indication, get ready for some black market grows if there aren't there already.
We're all black market. We always will be.
It's being called a new wave of crystal meth.
¿Qué tipo de drogas traficas tú?
Ice. A los gringos les gusta mucho el cristal.
A generation after U.S. government crackdown on labs and ingredients torpedo the drug supply, meth is back with a vengeance.
I basically learned how to be a high-functioning addict.
We call it zombie let now because everybody's zombie the out.
I want to know who's making it, how it's being trafficked, and why it's become such a hot commodity again.
The thing about this drug, she always wins in the end.
How many people are you expecting to come tonight? You have a phone full of messages?
Yes, tons of them.
50 messages?
Yeah, maybe more.
And everyone there, they're trying to buy drugs from you?
I dabble in a lot of different communities. The freaks come out at night.
This is Mike, a meth dealer from Austin. He tells me he's been dealing meth for more than 5 years. He doesn't like his clients knowing where he lives.
Hey, girl.
So he posts up at a hotel.
What's up?
For what he refers to as a cattle call.
So who's coming up now?
Mr. Pink.
After some convincing, Mike allows us to watch as he conducts deals on a very busy Friday night.
So can I get what I told you over the phone?
You want some crystal meth?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
So that covers that. I thought you owed me...
I owed you 100, so you still 60.
It seems like every deal is interrupted by another call from another customer.
Thank you.
The last time meth was this popular, Mike was in elementary school.
It's called crank, crystal, or speed.
Federal officials say more than 12 million Americans have tried it.
Once you get that high, you just want more and more and more.
This is the result of a meth lab exploding.
When they weren't killing themselves, amateur chemists were cooking meth from a toxic mix of household chemicals and over-the-counter cold medicine. It was a DIY phenomena that produced one of the most addictive drugs ever seen. It was an epidemic that was devastating rural white America. Perhaps the most lasting images from those days were put together by a sheriff's deputy in Oregon. A series of before and after mugshots of users that became known simply as the faces of meth. But as I talked to some of Mike's clients in Austin, they surprise me.
I try to keep a together appearance. I don't look like somebody from the Faces of Meth.
And your mom?
I am.
Not in a million years would I think that you use meth.
Well, I appreciate that, I think, because I think there is a certain stigma that we're all like toothless and eating people when we don't sleep for 10 days. I have an education and I have a job.
You're a lawyer.
Yes.
I sell cards, actually.
You're able to function and hold a job?
Yes, for sure.
I was an interior designer in a very affluent part of town.
And you're able to work?
Yeah.
How often do you use meth?
All the time.
And why do you use it?
It's a habit. It's just what I do. It's not what I want to do, but it's just what I do.
The demographics of meth users may have changed, but the control the drug asserts over those users has not. It comes from the power of dopamine. Meth unleashes a concentrated high to the pleasure sensors of the brain, and explains why it's so easy for users of any backgrounds to become addicted.
How do you do it?
I inject it.
Is that a more dangerous way of doing it or more powerful?
It's more addictive, I would say.
It's not even a decision. It's like a loop you just can't get off of. You just reach for it. I've basically learned how to be a high-functioning addict.
Mike is an addict, too. When he's not dealing, he's often using. His relationship with meth has been a roller coaster.
I had 3 houses, 2 cars, and lost it all. Homeless in the streets 4 years.
Have you done time in prison?
I have 3 felonies.
For drugs?
Possession. If I catch another one, I'm gone. It's a life sentence. I made a promise to my mother that I would be here to take care of her, and I'm gonna keep that.
Mike and his clients are some of the new faces of meth. I'm in the border town of Calexico to see how Mexican cartels smuggle meth into the biggest illegal drug market in the world.
We're here.
Yeah, I'm here too.
We just wait now.
Hey, Mariana, the biker should arrive to your spot any minute now.
Okay, so he's coming right to our car?
Yes.
Okay, so it's him. Hola.
Look.
¿Cómo estás? Soy Mariana.
The trafficker tells me to call him Ricardo. He's an American citizen from East LA.
¿Qué tipo de drogas traficas tú?
Ice.
Crystal meth. ¿Las tienes ahorita también?
Sí. Le puedo mostrar una parte, lo demás está muy escondido.
That's crystal meth. Ice.
The drugs are wrapped with duct tape and plastic. They're called huevos, or eggs, and each one is packed tightly with crystal meth.
¿Cuántos kilos están aquí?
Aquí son aproximadamente como 2 libras.
2 libras, 2 pounds.
Turns out there are 12 huevos hidden throughout the bike, totaling 24 pounds of meth, a street value of $36,000 in Los Angeles.
¿Para dónde vas?
Ahorita voy directamente por Los Ángeles.
¿Tú haces parte de algún cártel?
No, solo lo transporto yo.
Entonces, ¿de las drogas vienen de dónde?
Mexicali.
Pero es de un cártel que te las da, ¿no?
Sí, yo nomás la transporto.
¿Solo eso?
Sí, hasta en la moto y llévatelo.
Ricardo is one of thousands in a decentralized network of freelance smugglers utilized by the cartel. It's an army of ants who avoid seizures by funneling smaller packages of meth in cars and motorcycles, maximizing efficiency and minimizing risk, with drivers who have less direct ties to the cartels themselves. This meth pipeline is part of a drug trafficking empire that brings in an estimated $30 billion in revenue a year. That's more than Fortune 500 companies like Visa or Starbucks. And like any good business, the cartels are never satisfied. That's how I find myself parked on an LA street, awaiting a sketchy meetup with a cartel operative working on a new initiative.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Are these the people we've met before?
I have never met these people. They got this connection through the Sinaloa cartel.
Do you trust these people?
I don't know. What they told me is do not film when we are on the way to the location. If you do and we learn that you did, we're gonna kill your contact.
They actually said that?
Yes, Marianita, they did say that. This guy get killed just because we filmed something.
Okay, so no, absolutely no filming on the way to the location, wherever that location is.
No, please do not.
Okay, you guys heard that? Okay, I think this is it. So we're parking about 2 blocks from the actual location. They've asked us to park away. And also, they told us to bring all the gas masks because apparently it's super toxic. Okay? Do this.
Raking in billions a year, the cartels have seen their meth profits soar thanks to their endless pursuit of cheaper and quicker ways to reach American users. I walk a few blocks to meet a new cartel contact who calls himself Pablo.
Hey.
Hello.
And I honestly have no idea what to expect.
Please put your mask on. They did already, and the smell like chemical is really bad, and it's really strong. All the chemicals that we're using are very, very dangerous. You gotta be careful what you're touching.
Before you arrived?
Yes, I was cooking. I have something here, but I don't want to touch it because it's still cooking. This is what you call shake and bake. Because in case police come in, shake it, we don't do another one.
I know 2 years ago you could find shake and bake all around the country. And then they cracked down on Sudafed, so the production of meth went to Mexico. But now it's back here?
Boom, it's here.
And your boss is a big boss in the Sinaloa cartel?
I go directly to my boss in Sinaloa cartel.
And he gives you the orders?
He gives me the order. That's why you guys got the okay, the access to come here.
That's right. According to Pablo, the same shake and bake labs that once dotted the American landscape are making a comeback. But this time, they're funded and run by Mexican cartels.
So what's mind-blowing to me is that it looks to me almost like I'm in a spill ground. So what do we have here?
We got the gas, we got the battery acid.
You also use Sudafed?
We have the liquid Sudafed because we crush up the pills.
Pablo tells me that while getting Sudafed is hard, the cartel has channels to source ingredients from pharmaceutical companies.
How different is this from the meth that's coming from Mexico?
Let's say they were doing 60 pills. So I'm using 500 pills. More pills we crush up, the more stronger it is.
Oh, wow. Do you think the drugs are just going to get stronger and stronger?
Yes, they are.
By making it here, you don't have to cross the border. You can just make it.
Exactly.
Pablo explains that the cartel is experimenting with this direct-to-consumer model, which lowers production costs, eliminates the risk and cost of transport, and cuts out mules and middlemen.
We can't say exactly where we are, but we're in the middle of the city.
We're in the middle of the city.
And we have these all around the city.
We have 5 that are getting built right now, we speak, and around the corner we have at least 8.
Wow, in operation?
Yes.
Profits are already soaring. Just from the network of labs run by Pablo in LA, he tells me he's making $12 million every year for his bosses in Sinaloa.
We call it zombie land now, because everybody's zombie right now using crystal meth.
Does it bother you that there are people out there dying from the stuff you make?
Yes, it does bother me, but I gotta live one way or another. I grew up in this. I come from Sinaloa. This is all I know, and, you know, it's hard.
As the cartel's producers in Mexico and within the U.S. pump out more and purer crystal meth, their strategy to hook more users is working.
328 people died by overdosing on drugs here in Arizona last year.
Methamphetamine is back on the rise in Ohio.
More people are now dying from meth overdoses than heroin across Colorado.
Right here on the streets of San Francisco.
Omaha is caught in the crosshairs.
On the rise in San Diego.
That means more customers for the cartels.
The U.S. is now home to an estimated 1 million meth addicts, an epidemic that's killing thousands of people a year. I wonder how Mike, the dealer I met in Austin, feels about his role in such a deadly epidemic. So I reach back out, and I ask if he's still planning to come to L.A. for business.
So as if my life couldn't get any more crazier, it was just a show today.
His reply is the first in a series of nearly incoherent video texts.
There's someone always watching you. And every time, every minute, every day, every hour, week, every month, every year, the rest of your life.
I ask where he is, but it's not totally clear from his next text.
Here I am, still with no ID, wondering how am I gonna make happening.
Mike tells me he's on his way to meet me, but then I get this.
I'm literally on my last dime. So now, what to do?
It's like I'm watching him unravel.
Don't smoke meth. Like, take us somewhere, girls. Or she'll take you absolutely nowhere.
Finally, he tells me he's in San Diego. And then, the line suddenly goes dark. What I thought was simply the last link in the meth supply chain, a street-level dealer, is actually a window into the raging epidemic itself. Three days later, I get a message that Mike has made it to LA. He wants to meet at his motel. I have a hunch things are about to get messy.
Can we cut real quick? No, I'm just starting to hyperventilate.
Okay, so Mike, what are we doing here?
We are actually fulfilling orders that were sent to me through my clientele.
After several days of radio silence, Mike resurfaces in Los Angeles and invites me to his motel room.
Where is my stuff? What happened to that other baggie that I had?
He seems scattered from the start.
Yeah, I am. I get really on nerve, and so I need something to kind of calm me down. It's like, I gotta be high on something every day.
After taking the edge off, Mike agrees to show me how he ships the meth he buys wholesale in Calexico to clients across the country.
You're gonna put the drugs inside the lunchboxes?
Yes. So in the case and point in which they get x-rayed, it's gonna be harder to see what's inside. And because of this, it sounds like the puzzle.
It seems the sheer availability of pure Mexican meth has been a huge part of the drug's resurgence. It's a cheap high, and for a country with a massive addiction problem, that's irresistible, in spite of meth's ugly reputation.
It's more of a taboo because of the stigma behind it.
So why did you let us film with you?
Just because it's not what people think it is. Some of the greatest people that I know use it. Some of the most smartest people that I know use it. If you look at the community as a whole, there's a lot of people that use it in different ways. Can we cut real quick?
Yeah.
No, I'm just starting to hyperventilate.
Do you want water?
It's a profitable business, but not an easy one for a hardcore user like Mike. And the more time I spend with him, the more I witness the messy reality of his addiction.
Yeah, I'm a hot mess. And it's not getting easier. And I think it's just from the long-term usage of it.
You're getting a call from your mom.
It's okay.
You're not answering?
She wants answers to things that I don't have the answers to right now, so...
Does she know where you are?
Yeah.
Does she know what you're doing?
Yeah. She doesn't like it. Neither does my family. You know, they're worried about me because it's not about the drug usage, but it's more about if anything happens to me.
How scared are you of going to prison?
It's on my mind every day, considering how I have 3 felonies. If anything happens to these packages, it's bye-bye birdie.
Mike tells me that, like a lot of users, his experience with meth is tied to a hard-partying social scene. In fact, that's why he loves coming to Los Angeles. That night, Mike heads to West Hollywood, the epicenter of gay life in Los Angeles, and fertile grounds for new clients.
How do you sell? Would you go out and look for clients?
One of the biggest ways I made my money was through social media. And the gay community's been like Grindr, Scruff, Adam for Adam, BBRT. These are all avenues for men to meet other men and hook up. And that's where I come in.
Mike can go to any city in the country and within minutes find customers. For gay men looking to hook up and get high, these apps give dealers like Mike an edge. And it's in these gay communities where Mike's personal and business interests converge.
A lot of people, though. Wow.
Yeah, unless this is within a mile radius.
Are you getting requests right now?
Yeah, I get people at the hotel waiting for me.
Waiting for you to sell them meth?
No,
For you to have sex?
Maybe both, who knows? That's all I do all day. It's try to have fun on the side and then go back to work. Now, there's a secret language online. There's a chance that this guy could smoke because of the T, it's capital.
And so T stands for Tina.
Yes, but there's a lot of things that stand for Tina. Anything like a teacup or time for tea, your clock in a little teacup. And you can also do diamonds. And then there's party and play.
Which means what?
Smoke meth and have sex.
Mike tells me sex on meth is almost better than the drug itself.
For a lot of people, it makes them ferociously horny, and then it becomes that sex is always going to be associated with a certain substance. 80% of all my clientele are either before they're going to PNP or during. When I was on here the other night, every freaking guy that hit me up, like, partying. I can't even leave a city block without being bombarded by either requests or people that want PNP.
I've never seen a drug epidemic through the lens of a dating app. But there it is, the new faces of meth, courtesy of a seemingly endless stream of online profiles looking to party.
Why do you think meth is so prevalent in the gay community?
It's larger than the gay community, yes it is, but it doesn't symbol the gay community as a whole. It's a one niche in the gay community, and if you want to see it, log on from 2 to 6 in the morning.
Right.
But you, excuse me, my cognitivity is starting to go out the window. I'll start with one subject, and I'll nod out real quick and can start a whole completely different one. It's because my brain's starting to just spark. It's getting tired. I need to go sit down.
It's your mom again. You have to call her at some point.
Yeah. Hola, guapas. I'm still working right now.
Did you find out anything?
I'll be home tomorrow.
You don't even have your plane ticket. How can you tell me that?
I don't know.
I don't want you to tell me something that's not gonna happen.
Okay, I love you. I gotta go, Mom. I gotta go.
Well, you need to tell me.
I don't know, Mom, please.
You always say, Mom, please, but you never get back with me.
Mom, please, I will talk to you.
When?
Mom, I need to get off the phone.
Okay, love you. Bye.
She's so worried about you.
Yeah, I'm tired. I am completely and utterly exhausted. I am gonna leave this car now.
Stay safe. Call your mom back. Bye, Mike. It's sad. It's sad, especially to see his mom calling him, you know, so worried about him and wondering when he's going to go back home. And she knows full well what he's doing here, too. So as a mother myself, that moment really got to me. He says he wants to quit, He says that in a few months, that's his plan, but as he knows full well himself, it's a really hard drug to quit. He's tried it a few times and he hasn't been successful at it, but we'll see what happens this time.
The current meth epidemic is many things to many people. For a handful of cartel bosses, it's a windfall. For thousands of people who depend on the meth pipeline to make their living, it's a paycheck. And for millions of addicts and their families, it's a curse.
So you've been in touch with these people? I mean, they know that we're coming?
I'm in touch with these groups, but you have to be careful, Mariana. We are green-lighted by them, but I mean, at the end of the day, they are criminals.
The man riding shotgun is Oliver Schmieg, a local photojournalist who once helped me gain access to the cocaine highway. I've been investigating drug traffickers for over 15 years. Often, I'm a lone female journalist surrounded by masked criminals, 99% of whom are men.
It's starting to boil and the crystal is starting to form at the top.
But recently, I've heard tales of a new breed of narco-trafficker. Women. Rumor has it these brash cocaine queens are helping revolutionize the multi-billion-dollar drug business. And I'm on a mission to find them. We're trying to track down a female narco named Sonia, who's rumored to be the second in command of one of Colombia's newest criminal cartels, Los Caparros.
What do you guys know about her, this woman?
She's supposed to be the boss of the hitman in this area.
The boss of the assassins?
Yeah, which is like really astonishing.
It feels very much like we're entering the heart of darkness here.
You're definitely right, Mariana.
Entonces la idea es llegar, pero llegar bien y hacer las cosas muy bien. Y no puedo correr ningún riesgo con la gente. ¿Sí me van a entender?
Sí, señor, sí.
The man holding the phone is Ivan Vasquez, a former Colombian Special Forces soldier and our security advisor for the region. The voice on the other end is our contact inside Sonia's gang.
Bueno, señor.
¿Y entonces qué te dice? Que tenemos que esperar.
Que esperemos aquí, que no nos vamos de aquí.
The region we're in is called Bajo Cauca. In 2019, it had a murder rate on par with Tijuana, Mexico, the most violent city in the world. Just weeks ago, 8 teenage soccer players traveling through here were taken hostage.
Las madres claman porque a sus hijos se les respete la vida y se les permita regresar a sus hogares.
Exigimos la liberación de nuestros hijos. Aún son 7 los que quedan en cautiverio.
They got kidnapped by the same gang we are supposed to meet, by Los Caparros. 3 got freed. 1 they found dead already.
So they were kidnapped by the same people we are meeting?
Yeah.
And is there any guarantee that these people are meeting us and that they're not going to kidnap us?
Well, there's no guarantee. I mean, you are under the control of a criminal gang. There is a risk to get kidnapped.
Okay.
And that's when our contact calls back, with a meeting point. Instead of finding Sonia, we're picked up along the way by a pair of her sicarios, professional hitmen who order us to follow them. Though 50% of Bajo Cauca's residents live in poverty today, the Spanish conquistadors knew there was tremendous wealth to be found here, hidden underground. As we follow the Sicarios into this mining operation, I assume this is where we'll find Sonia. Instead, we discover the men are taking us on a shakedown.
Ella sabe de dónde vengo, cómo trabajamos. El mes pasado ustedes no colaboraron. O me colabora o tumbamos esta y lo quemamos y paramos producción. Listo. Cuéntele, amigo, que la plata es para contarla. ¿Cómo cuadramos lo del mes pasado? Hoy hablo con el patrón en horas de la tarde y paran el resto.
Sonia's Sicarios want us to leave immediately, but I want to know more about what's happening here.
Que eso es normal, que vienen aquí.
Lava, siempre que se saca material de oro, lo hacen en cada una de las minas de la región.
Before I can ask more questions, my crew alerts me that the gunmen are on the phone with Sonia herself.
Sí, señora. Ya estamos llegando, señora.
It seems I've overstayed my welcome. While her gunmen lead us away from the mine,
Bueno, señor, gracias.
Ivan gets a concerning call from his local security sources. Over the past 24 hours, there have been multiple gunfights between local gangs, with 6 people confirmed killed.
So this area right now, he was saying, it was super, super hot.
It seems like every gang in Bajo Cauca wants a piece of the pie, and they're willing to kill for it.
En estos momentos estamos en la propia boca del lobo de ellos. Esto aquí lo tienen el control ellos.
He's gonna check all the cars, make sure that there's no one else there or any guns. He's also getting all the guns from our security guys, disarming everybody. And no cell phones allowed in.
Once they take our cell phones, they order us to follow them. It's time to meet their leader, La Comandante, the commander.
You see, he just handed the money to him, and he's the only one who's able to approach her, the woman. He's about to give her the money. It's amazing, though. She's the one really giving the orders here, huh?
Yeah.
In my many years of investigating narco-traffickers, this is the first time I've encountered a woman who wields so much power over violent, well-armed men.
Okay.
Eventually, I'm permitted to approach Sonia.
Hola.
Entonces, ¿cuánto dinero es? ¿Te molesta si te pregunta?
Acá deben de haber 3, pero necesitamos más. Me falta mucho más.
¿Y dónde está el resto?
Eso es lo que toca que averiguar con esta gente. Mando a mi gente para que vaya ya otra vez de nuevo. Si no tienen todo el dinero completo, tomamos esta máquinas y ya.
Well, okay, so she's not happy apparently because there's not enough money. It's not the money that she was promised. ¿Qué pasó? Oh, apparently there's like another group close by and they're getting scared. ¿Qué? ¿Un grupo? ¿Un otro grupo armado? Okay, guys, really, for reals. Now we have to go. Sí, un otro grupo.
Sonia's bodyguards rush her to safety while they prepare for an imminent attack.
Oh my God, the guy's got his gun. He just, you know, it's serious when they start freaking out.
My film crew and I are embedded with a gang of cocaine traffickers, and a rival cartel is closing in.
¿Era otro grupo que? ¿Verdad?
Sí, señora.
Okay. The mine where we were just now filming, there was another rival group that came in armed, so that things are definitely not safe because this could be the next spot they target. Hopefully this is open. Yeah.
Están haciendo disparos atrás.
No,
Sí.
¿escuchaste?
Sí.
No.
Sí, señora.
¿Dónde estamos nosotros? He started hearing gunshots right where we came from.
Salgamos rápido de aquí, que atrás hay disparos.
¿Piensas que están bien ellos?
Doña Mariana, en estos momentos no se sabe nada, pues ya entran en contacto y lógico que a la tarde vamos a saber si muertos.
As we flee the gang's compound, I realize I know next to nothing about their female commander, a woman who every rival gang in Bajo Cauca seems to want dead.
Quisiera como salirse. Entonces uno dice, ¿por qué estoy metido en esta Pero, o sea, le he corrido a la Marina, la policía, el clan, con el que estamos peleando ahora.
The morning after the attack, I discover Sonia's not just alive, she's willing to finally talk. Turns out, it was the Clan del Golfo that led the attack.
You can film.
They're Sonia's main rival and the biggest drug traffickers in the region, with alleged links to Mexico's Sinaloa cartel.
Sé que no puedo ver tu cara, pero consigo ver que es muy joven. Te puedo preguntar más o menos cuántos años tienes.
21.
21 años.
Sonia is young, but so is her group, Los Caparros. They're one of the newest gangs competing for Colombia's cocaine profits, supposedly created by former right-wing paramilitaries who abandoned politics and embraced crime.
¿Cuál es tu posición ahorita en el grupo?
Yo soy comandante del sector.
Eres, imagino, tal vez no, pero eres una de las únicas mujeres, imagino, con una posición...
Llegué donde estaba, la finura que le mostré a ellos y a los viejos, pues... Y aquí estoy.
¿Y no tenías un sueño de ser estar envolvida en el crimen?
Pero estaba. Pues quería ser doctora.
¿Verdad? ¿Qué? ¿Por qué?
Yo soy como muy amable con las personas por ese lado.
Sonia tells me that, like most people in Bajo Cauca, she grew up in poverty. When she was 12, her father was murdered by a local paramilitary gang. Sonia went looking for revenge, but never found it. What she found instead was love. At 16 years old, she fell for the regional commander of Los Caparros, a man who had grown up poor, like her.
Todo empezó, pues me llamó mucho la atención la forma como prácticamente la gente le tenía miedo. Le limpiaba prácticamente, con la lengua le limpiaba las botas.
Against her mother's wishes, Sonia ran away, got pregnant, and gave birth to the commander's children.
Yo me imagino que partiste el corazón de tu mamá, ¿no?
Bastante. Sí, pero yo tengo mucho respeto ya.
¿Por quién?
Por todo.
Respect. It's something Sonia earned during her initiation, when the cartel kidnapped a disabled man and ordered her to kill him.
Está súper feo. Pues lo vi pidiendo piedad, diciéndome que por favor no lo matara. Y pues yo al igual no lo quería, pero él fue el que insistió, o sea, que si no lo mataba, no entraba a la organización junto con él. Eso fue lo que me propuso, que le demostrara finura. Después, él me entregó un machete y me tocó que degollarlo.
No, con el machete.
No.
Y pues yo al igual no lo quería.
Pero él fue el que dirigió. Despite everything I've witnessed covering black markets, it's hard to stomach the details of Sonia's rise to power.
Le quitamos la cabeza y lo tiramos al río.
Entonces lo hiciste por amor.
Sí.
Al final del día es todo para mantener el control del narcotráfico de la cocaína.
Claro que sí.
Cocaine. It remains Colombia's most enduring and profitable black market.
Oh my God.
And Sonia is going to show me how she maintains control of her gang's coca plantation.
Aquí no es una zona de tanto conflicto, aquí más está todo controlado por ustedes.
Sí, el perímetro lo tenemos totalmente asegurado.
Que están escondidos.
Sí.
Her hitmen inform me that there are snipers hidden throughout the hills.
Oh, wow.
Today, Sonia helps manage some 30,000 acres. But Los Caparros are outnumbered and outgunned by rivals. They need fresh soldiers, and they need them fast.
¿De dónde vienen ellos?
Se entregan, ellos nos los mandan. Muchas personas que también quieren entrar a la organización.
Tú me dijiste que muchos de esos son
reclutados.
Recruited. It means something very different in this region. Many Caparros members are actually kidnapped. They're not volunteers. They're victims.
7 jóvenes desaparecidos en el Bajo Cauca antioqueño desde finales de febrero.
The case of the 8 teenage soccer players who recently disappeared in Bajo Cauca shocked millions of Colombians. But Sonia knows what happened to the players because she was the one who ordered their kidnapping.
Entonces tú los conociste.
Claro que sí.
¿Están vivos todavía?
Si dice sí, pues los mandamos para la tropa. Ellos dicen no, los matamos. Y sí.
¿Cuántas personas reclutan ustedes así, de ese modo, forzado?
Las que hayan.
Despite everything she's told me, I'm still shocked to learn that many of Sonia's narco soldiers are innocent young men her gang kidnapped.
Eso me parece horrible, ¿no? Perdón, pero es verdad, ¿no? Porque imagínate un niño de 15, 16 años que desaparece la familia así, ¿no?
No se acostumbra como a lo que uno hace normalmente.
These horrors are all in the service of the product. Another kilo of coke is ready for transport. That's when Sonia's bodyguards tell her she too must go. With so many rivals, they can't allow their commander to remain in one place for long.
Okay.
She's the boss. She's the most valuable thing here. If she gets killed, then the guys that are in charge of her protection will probably get killed as well. Piensas también que porque hay muchos intereses, muchas personas interesadas, mucho dinero.
El trabajo más fácil que uno tiene.
A part of me really wants these ambitious women to succeed. And why not? For far too long, it's been mostly men profiting from the multi-billion-dollar drug trade. Of course, despite his riches, even Pablo Escobar died in a hail of gunfire on a rooftop in Medellin.
¿Hay algún modo de hacer ese trabajo sin violencia?
No, igual eso es lo que prácticamente domina a los humanos.
¿Tienes momentos en que te sientes un gran sentimiento de culpa por las personas que mataste?
Sí, bastante. Uno a veces tiene muchas pesadillas con personas que quizás les rogaban por su vida.
Cuando ven que tú eres mujer, ¿piensas que ellos tienen alguna esperanza?
A nada. Pues porque saben que soy.
Y entonces si pudieras volver atrás, tal vez no entrarías, ¿o qué?
Si él no tuviera, no. Yo digo que antes estuviera mucho mejor.
¿Y tú todavía estás enamorada de él?
Claro que sí.
Just weeks after I left, the Colombian military killed the leader of Los Caparros and captured one of his chief lieutenants, Sonia's lover and the father of her children.
La mula se estacionó y pues no, a nosotros.
7 of the 8 kidnapped teenagers were freed.
Noticias de los otros 7 jóvenes que
And the remaining members of Los Caparros are on the run, including Sonia, whose whereabouts are unknown. Today, the Colombian government has declared the gang thoroughly dismantled. Narcos come and go. That's part of the deal. Live fast, die young. But more and more, the black market often reflects trends in the legal one. It's like a dark mirror. So it's perhaps not surprising that women are pushing for equality in the most ruthless workplace of all. And they're either desperate enough or crazy enough to do the unthinkable in their pursuit of money and power. Progress can be a bitch.